He and his team landed at artillery, but his team landed on high ground, and you're up ahead. By the way, let me know if I need to turn down the music or if my mic needs to go up. Just let me know in chat. How are you doing, Coughless? I've got your VOD in here, so we'll have a look at Cute first. We'll have a look at yours shortly after. So you landed artillery. Your teammates.
What are you looking like up there, Cradle?
Turn that down a bit. Your teammates are on a building behind you. You don't have armor, and you're alone right now, so you definitely want to be a bit careful. Other than that, you do have some good weapons, so it's not too bad here. Find yourself an R99 as well, so as long as you aren't too risky with your health here, you'll probably be fine. I like that you're taking this little high ground here, because you think, can you turn up the mic please? It's really low. Of course, yeah, one sec. Does that help? I hope it does. Alrighty, so you know that, and I hope that you can get your your volume high enough on Twitch, let me know. So you know that there's people in this building. You take a little high ground to see where these people are, and you don't get a visual. The only thing I don't like, and I'm only pointing it up right now because you do it later in the VOD as well, is when you climb up here, you decide to stay on this ledge, and this is a very powerful position. You see me using it a lot as well, because it's instant high ground, and you can use this orb as cover from any direction, right? So there's a nice little spot if you're stuck in the middle of artillery. But if you're on this edge here and you get shot from anywhere on the right side of the orb, you can't strafe, because if you strafe you'll fall down and in, which happens later in the VOD. Now you can climb back out, but while you're climbing out you can get shot, so instead I always recommend going on the orb. Yeah, you're a bit higher, yeah, you're a bit more exposed, but you can actually move around and you can get to the other side if you get shot to actually use it as cover, so it's eventually safer. Falling in there isn't worth the risk, and it always happens. Right, so you see an armor here, which is great. You do know that there's an enemy somewhere towards this side, because we just heard them slide, and your teammates are very far. They're still on that building where they landed, right? So you should be assuming at this point that they won't be able to help you out. Because of that, after you grab this armor, I would rotate out the right side to the top. So you have visibility, you have cover, you have a safe point to engage on this enemy, because you know you won't have the backup of your teammates, so you have to treat this like a 1v3, which means you want to know where all the enemies are, and you want to make sure that this guy is isolated before you push up. And instead you're pushing up straight here, and you overexpose. Right here, you're out in the open, which is not ideal. Now getting the top here is the right play, that is very good. Just on this first peek, you shouldn't have overexposed. You should have gone out the right side in the first case. But other than that, right here, you feel like the enemy is here, so ADS first, check your corners, check inside again to see if he went bottom, and if he did, then you can go up the break line of sight. Right now you don't know where he is, so you shouldn't be running out in the open. Other than that, still fine. Missed some shots, but that's okay. Take high ground, that's good. Want to see you use cover here. You go to the sandbags, but you don't actually use them. That's a waste. You should have waited at least like half a second there. It's fine that you keep going to find him, but at least half a second to see if he's pushing, or listen if he's going underneath. Right here. Other than that, some great damage with the flatline. One more thing I wanted to point out is you have an R99 here, which the flatline is insane at close range, especially if you hit headshots. That's tough with the iron sights. It's just a bit too difficult to be reliable with it, so I would definitely go with the R99. Other than that, pretty well played. This guy was luckily alone, so you were fine. But you should have still treated that like a 1v3, because you didn't know. How are you doing, Hawk? No problem, man. Brown? Yeah, what is it? Mount Brown? Brown? I don't know. Right, so you see an enemy here through the glass, and luckily this enemy decides to walk towards you out in the open, so this is great. And of course you want to pre-aim the headshot, and when you open the door, don't stay where you are, but you move to the left. So this is a great example of what to do. I mean, of course you're going to take, that's kind of sick, it is indeed. Of course you're going to take some damage when you open this door, but she's crouching, so she's slow. So you aim at the head. When you open the door, you instantly either jiggle peek to the right, or just push out to the left and strafe. She won't be moving as fast, and then you'll be able to do more damage, and you'll be able to kill her. So this is a great example of how to handle somebody pushing your door like that. If, of course, you want to play it safe, because you don't know where this guy's teammates are, and you're not close to your teammates, then you, of course, don't want to push that. You want to back off, get to the top, and take high ground against them. But that's up to you and how you like to play. Alright. Heal up here. I don't like your position of healing up here. This is just too much out in the open. I know you didn't hear anybody, but footsteps are unreliable in this game, so just be a bit more safe. Just because you were in a better position before that, so there's no need to wait till you're out in the open to use it. And right here, I want to point out, you killed this Pathfinder fairly fast, but the reason you killed this Pathfinder fairly fast is because he's using a devotion. Now, a devotion is very strong for punishing people that are out in the open, as you are. But you're holding the corner where he is, and he needs to rev up his gun. In the meantime, you're going to be doing, 36 damage per headshot, 18 damage per body shot, so you're going to wreck this guy with your flatline. So what he needs to do is slide out and hip fire, And it doesn't matter if he hits the hip fires or not. He just needs to get the hip fires out of the way so that he can strafe at full speed and avoid those first couple bullets from your flatline. Make sure he doesn't take too much damage and then shoot you in ADS, and that's when the devotion wins and he will own you. He didn't do that, and that's why you beat him. But you didn't beat him because you played it well, because you didn't. He just played it worse. See, you're out in the open here, you hold the corner, and then when he goes behind the corner, he's not fully gone yet. You don't hear him going around, he doesn't grapple. So this can still be a jiggle peek. This still can be a fake one, you know? He can be baiting you out. And the first thing you do is run forward. You fall for the bait. And he didn't leave. He was still there. So instead of going back to cover and then chasing around the left side if he went there, or holding the corner for if he repeats, you instantly fall for the bait. Give yourself at least half a second if you're not behind cover to not get baited like this, especially by a devotion. If he didn't mess up his corner peek there and the rev on the gun, he would have killed you. Other than that, well, you still got the kill, which is nice. Also, you could have definitely used the R99 there to hipfire, which again is stronger against the devotion. Especially if you put, if you hipfire strafe and put crouches in there, because the devotion kicks up a lot. So if he's aiming high up, that makes it difficult for him to see you, which of course you probably know if you've played this game for more than 10 minutes and you've tried to shoot the devotion at people close range. So, and here once again, here's why I'm pointing it out. Climbing up here, it's risky to stand on these ledges, so go on the actual orb itself. Yes, you're a little more exposed, but you can actually strafe and move. Here, of course, you probably noticed because you backed off, but a little bit too slow, you were overexposed, which is because you spent some time here when you fell. That's fine, but you know that these people are pushing up. Right, you know that they're down here because it was called out by your teammates. And as soon as you see this shot on the left, just forget about this. These people don't matter anymore. Obviously you're overexposed, 3 people can see you. Change up your position first. You have teammates on the right, they do have a good position, so just leave this up to them, or him in this case, and by the time he needs to heal you can cover for him, because you'll be in a better position. Rather than now, you're very low, so you have to run to try and stay alive and heal, while your teammate hopefully is able to 1v2 or 1v3 right here. Right, so that's not ideal. You did run away, which is good, just be a bit faster with it. Hipfire is also pretty stupid on it in close range. Yeah, the devotion is cheesy in many ways. Not a topic we have to get too deep into, because I'm pretty sure that's a generally agreed upon topic. Was that armor he passed by full? I'm not sure. When I checked it, he went by too fast to see it, and I could go back in slow motion and check it, but if he didn't see it, then he doesn't know. I'm gonna assume he pressed this interact button to pick it up, and it wasn't full. That's what I assumed when I saw it. I didn't actually check. But for the benefit of the doubt, and the fact that I've watched his gameplays before and he's a fairly good player, I'm going to assume that that was him checking and it was empty. And if not, then that was obviously a mistake, but he would know that. Right, nice quick knock here. Not much to say about that. There might be more people around, and you know that your teammate was going for the banner, right? So for a while here you're alone, so again you treat this like a 1v3. This person was isolated by themselves. You don't know where the other enemies are, so as soon as I knocked this lifeline, I would have changed up the angle. I would have backed up, gone around the right side and then pushed up the middle, or gone around the left side and pushed the corner. I avoid the left side here because it's low ground, and as you guys know I like high ground. But I avoid being where the lifeline will ping me or call out my location, you know. Treat it like a stealth game where your last seen position leaves this trail of where the NPCs are going to push towards, because that's basically what happens. The moment you down this lifeline, wherever you were or wherever she last saw you, that's where they think you are. You can use that against them. So you push up too predictably, or you do use cover, which is good. You do fight one enemy at a time. You're overexposed here. Once again, there's no need. Either use the corner to scout and hold the corner as cover, or hold the generator, but not in between. Right, should have definitely gone for headshots there. I think you were trying though, because it was very close to headshots. Still wanted to point it out, just because of the range and the way he was speaking, should have gone for headshots. And nice cleanup. And the fight finishes right there. So there's definitely a bunch of mistakes in there. One thing I didn't point out that I also wanted to point out is that you haven't used a single ability yet. Now, I don't know if you're a Watson player or you're just playing her for the challenges or whatever. But if you're trying to heal, get away, you're being chased, especially in buildings like this, just drop 2 pylons real quick on the entrance. This is the least you can do. It's a nice warning mechanism, especially if you're isolated from your enemies, if you don't have armor, if you know you're going to have to hold doors a bit longer or run away, stuff like that. it's very useful, it's very quick. You don't have to be good at Watson to drop a couple pylons here or there if you're being chased, or if you're trying to isolate an opponent, so do that, you know. And once you get the ultimate, obviously, it's armor regeneration and anti-nade spam, which is nice. Alright, so you guys TP'd outside of zone, there's still plenty of time, so that's fine. And there's an enemy team up here. You're ahead of your team, you see them first. They were going off in a different direction, but they end up chasing you. And your approach here is really bad, especially for somebody of your skill level, which is why I'm going to be kind of harsh on this one, because I know you're better than this. Your teammates aren't with you yet. You're the first one that's forward. You have information on the enemy team that they don't have on you, because the bubble is so visible, right? So you have the luxury of engaging the way you want, or at least engaging well, and they have high ground, so you want to. But what you decide to do is just push up to the left and close when you already see that they're sliding down, so now you're within audio range. And if this team pushes you now, or sees you, or hears you, or whatever, what are they gonna do? Well, they can come from either side, they can easily control this cover, they have the high ground, they can nade spam you, because you're not dropping your ulti. If you're going to be stuck here, at least drop your ultimate. And your team does catch up, which is nice, but you didn't communicate any of this with them, so one of your teammates ends up going on a really wide flank here. If he keeps going for this flank, he will not be here in time to help you. And then you go for a fight on the first enemy. Nice quick knock. So far so good. But the approach is very, very bad. And also this healing spot, very bad, because you don't know if there's somebody on the other side past the Pathfinder. You saw Gibraltar, but you never saw where he went. Your teammate also didn't properly have that covered. Luckily, they seem somehow unaware of you, even though you just killed their teammate, and so you still get a kill. Again, a little bit overexposed. Luckily, they were potatoes, so it ended up going well, but you could have approached this fight a lot better. I've looked at your VODs before, and you usually engage cleaner than this. From here, you see where they are, right? So you either want to go on high ground, or you want to take a wide flank where they can't hear you if they push up to this cover, because you see them moving downwards as you're moving to the left, right? One of those two. Obviously, always, I prefer high ground, but if you want to split the sidelines from your team, because you know they're going to be on the right side, I understand that you want to go left, even though that's your Wraith's or Bangalore's job and not yours as Watson. And if you want to go to the left to flank around, then take a wide flank, where they can't block your flank. Alright. Maybe I'm not using ADS as much compared to this guy. He's hip firing a fair bit in this world, but also he's using the flatline R99, which are both weapons that you generally hip fire with a lot. So it depends on the weapons you're using as well. Alright. But you end up killing these guys. A bit too wide of a... I think you slide peek this corner, is that correct? Let me check real quick, because I was talking too much to notice. Yeah, alright. You slide peek this corner. And I'm a huge fan of slide peeking. Anybody that's watched me play live will hear me talking about it. It's a great way to check corners. If you know that there's an enemy... That's way too far back, holy hell. If you know that there's an enemy right around the corner, and you know that they're aiming at the corner, then you slide wide and shoot them so that they have to overcompensate for that. It's harder for them to hit you, it's harder for them to headshot you, you're less predictable, and hopefully it means you can get the first shots on them, which of course with aim punch is very useful in this game. But if you don't know where the enemy is, then the problem with slide peeking is that it's louder, it's wider, and then you have to go farther back for cover. Also, you have to cancel your momentum to go back to cover. So because of that, it's not ideal if you aren't sure that the enemy is right around the corner or is pre-aiming the corner. So if you're just peeking to scout, you want to stick close to cover. If you're peeking to try and finish him because you know he's pre-aiming the corner, that's when you slide peek. So that slide peek was risky, and it was useless because of the terrain you're on. You don't slide far enough. It's not worth it. If you slide down, at least you get a wider angle, so it might be worth it, but you still wouldn't get the momentum there for it to really be worth it. Right, and then you finish up these two here, and you end up fighting up top, I believe, here. ADS can be good if you have the drop on your enemy, but in super close quarters combat, hipfire can be better depending on the gun. Yeah, you also have to, like, certain guns are more dependable in hipfire, but also different guns make you move at different speeds. So if I'm ADS'd with the wingman, my speed is barely reduced, so there's not really a large penalty. If I'm ADS'd with the longbow, my speed is very heavily reduced. I barely move, and I'm very, very easy to hit. So with one of those, it makes more sense to want to hipfire if somebody jumps on me, other than the longbow, of course, having very bad hipfire if I don't crouch, which is why you crouch in the hipfire with the longbow. But just so that I can have that strafe speed, and with the wingman there's no need, because my strafe speed is so fast, I may as well ADS. And then it also depends if I have an R99 at maybe 15 meters range. Well, if they're shooting back at me, I might just hipfire so that I can strafe and prevent being hit. But if they're not looking at me, I'll just ADS and go for headshots. So, right, so your teammates end up, I think I ADS way too much, but firing without it feels wrong. That's normal for a lot of people. Hipfire takes a while to get used to. Right, So I was chatting to you guys for a while and we completely missed the engage. Your teammates end up fighting up top here before you even engage. Progress recount, right? It's all bots. It's all bots, joke. It's fake. It's fake news. Oh, by the way, hell yeah, we have a mod. That's great. So your team is fighting up top. They both are low. So right now there's two options. Either you kill the enemy team for them and you're fine, or you cover for your teammates if they're gonna heal. It depends on the calls that they're making and how low these enemies are. You shoot a bamboozle first, but now you're not sure. Your teammate goes down, so probably push around the right here so that your cover is creating an area to escape for your teammate that's still alive, right? If you push up to the left, you have a stronger angle to attack, but you're past attacking. You're now at the point in the fight where your teammate needs to reset, so you want to cover for them. Luckily they're wraiths, so they'll get out, and you got a call that the wraith was low, so it's nice that you finish her. From there, well, it's a quick, clean finish. Not much to say about it. Still no ability usage, and also I definitely would have liked to see you scout a bit more, because you end up pushing left side here. You have no information on this enemy team. They have a fair amount of information on you. As soon as you shoot this bamboozle, they can see exactly with the passive mirage overlay where you are, right? They'll get a pop-up right now that you're standing here in the range. So this Octane that you end up not seeing here knows exactly where you are. You don't know where he is. This is, again, if you've shot, think of it like a stealth game. You leave this, you know, this silhouette behind of where you were last seen, and they can see that, and that's where they will push. So you want to use that against them. You end up holding this position right now. The Octane knows where you are. You don't know where he is, so you're giving him an advantage. Luckily, he decides to YOLO him and you laser him because you're just better. But again, it's a risk you did not need to take. 6 minutes, there we go, okay. So you guys have been poking for a while. There's a team on the Bunker Hill high ground here, as per usual, that's just spamming down. And I believe also enemies behind you or on the house, something like that. Right, in the house right here. So you end up chasing somebody through the house, and right here, look at your movement for a bit. I'm gonna point out what is probably my biggest mistake as well, and you're doing it right here. Alright, so we're gonna go back to the start of this fight, where we one further, here. You're not full health yet. You get into this house to get to safety, and once you're there, there is enemies there that you're attacking, so it's fine that you want to back up your teammate. But you end up chasing that enemy, and once you lose track of them, you just kind of keep running around until you can figure out what's going on, rather than either holding a position where you know it's safe to heal, or holding a position where you can scout, or setting up your Watson traps to defend the house, depending on where these enemies might push back in from, right? All of those would have been fine. And because you spend so much time trying to be effective, trying to run around, trying to find something to do, you actually end up taking a lot of risks here, because you're not sure about whether there's people on the roof. You're not sure if this person still has teammates. You're not sure if you lost track of them because they ran out, or because they're hiding in a corner, because there's too much noise going on at this point. So as soon as you lose track of him here, you should be looking for a place to either heal, a place to hold, or something you can do for them to counter push, right? They're already too late. And you go for the heal way too late here, push up too close to your teammate that's in a fight. So if he gets chased now, by proxy, you are fucked, right? Because you decide to heal somewhere where your teammate is aggroing enemies towards, next to a window. It's not ideal, so where you were was way safer. You get the heal off, this is nice, and this is where the real mistake begins. The others were just like kind of, it wasn't clean, but it ended up working out. They weren't big things, but this is the first real mistake. You know that there's still a team above you on the high ground spamming, right? They're the biggest threat right now, because with all these people fighting on the low ground, you can't really get to them, and they also are closer to zone, and passing that area is difficult unless you use a portal, especially as Watson. So when you see this low lifeline out here, she's not a priority, she's not important. And from this moment onward, you're out in the open, while you know there's a full team spamming on high ground at you, right? You don't have cover from them, you don't have cover from them, you still don't have cover from them, she's not important, you still don't have cover from them, saw a guy too late, but that's okay. But you still don't have cover from these people. Now, luckily they're missing their shots because they're potatoes, but obviously if that was you and me up there, we would have murdered you. You're making it very simple. But the reason I wanted to point that out is because right here, you've luckily only taken 25 damage, but you're in a very risky position, and even if you kill this Wraith, you are now inviting this enemy team to engage upon you as soon as one of your armors break, because you keep giving them so much free poke damage. So this Wraith, once again, not a priority. You can just go to the window and shoot her. As soon as she goes inside, you just decide to double your key into her, even though your teammate's already holding the door. Why? Why are you doing? Your teammate had this. You could have taken the window, you could have healed, you could have poked at the team up top so that they cannot push you because they're the biggest threat right now. But you're just standing out in the open, ADSing in the river, which is the worst place in the entire map to be, and then just W keying into somebody that your teammate already has covered, who has more health than you. But then here it gets worse, sadly, because look at your health after you kill this Wraith. Look at your health, you're one shot, right? There's a full team above you on the high ground that can see you, hear you, and drop on you at any time. You open the box, there's a blue armor, and you look at it, and you're processing it, and you had 300 heavy ammo already, my dude. What are you doing? What are you doing? Pick up the damn armor. Are you kidding me? Pick up the armor, forget about everything else, and heal. Or get to a safe place, or lock out, do something to prevent this team from above from absolutely slapping your ass into oblivion right now, because you are asking them to destroy you right here. You are a free kill right now. And also your positioning here when going for the medkit, obviously not ideal, not because of these doors, but because the team is above you. So where are they gonna come from? The roof. Where can they shoot you? This room. So not ideal. Other side of the door would have been better. Or of course outside of the building. Alright, also right here, once you go to the other side of the door, you see something you weren't aware of. The door on the back, come on, the door on the back is open. The team that we are aware of, that is the biggest threat this entire time, is on the high ground above this house. Meaning if they drop down, this is a likely location for one of them to push in. Meaning if you're healing in this corner, you don't want to walk forward out into the open, because you're going to get your ass slapped. So stick behind that staircase or heal here. Don't stick in line of sight, or don't stick a big med in line of sight of the open door when you know that there's a team on that side of the building. And then here's the biggest sin of all, especially for a player that I know is as good as you. You know the team is above, you haven't looked at them in a million years, you haven't poked back at them. You walk out the door where you know they are, and you're in a fucking menu. Are you kidding me? You can't see them. What are you looking at? What are you doing? Look up, look fucking up. What are you doing? You know where they are. They still exist. What is this?
I broke one shield.
You know what I mean? Like I said before, right? I'm only being harsh on this because I know you're a way better player than this. You're taking risks that you should not be taking. And they're not even risks that would slow down your gameplay, right? They're not the kind of risks you would take for greed. They're just kind of... I don't want to say tunnel vision. You're taking it too easy. Until proven otherwise, you should assume that these enemies are better. And then the last thing here, you get a very nice knock on the Wraith when you drop down. This is the last team. You laser her through the door. The door is one shot and you hold it and reload. And right now, the situation is there's one more enemy, a Watson, in here. You have only a little bit of armor left, so you don't want to take too much damage. But your teammate is behind them, right? So your job right now is to do absolutely nothing, right? This Watson is looking at you, and that's exactly what you want. Because your teammate's going to shoot her in the butt and destroy her. If you open this door, you're risking taking damage that you don't want to take because you already challenged two people at once, so you already took 75 damage. So you just hold this door, pop a med, reload, do whatever you gotta do until your teammate shoots. And if the Watson turns around to shoot your teammate, that's when you open the door, pop her in the head, because she's not shooting at you. If she keeps looking at you, it's a free kill for your teammate. Either way, this works out for you unless she runs away, but you're already outside of the building. She can't run away here because you're holding the door. She has to go left side, and then you kill her. Right? So it's a free kill no matter what you do here, as long as you don't go in. And that's what you do. Right? So she kicks the door, that's fine. Just hold it here. There's no need to go forward, just hold it. You end up W keying. You still get the win, but I'm just saying your focus isn't on the right thing, right? You need to assess the situation a little bit more here and there. So I hope that helps.